So far, we have been setting constraints only for the decision variables, a range constraint. Okay, now let's look at adding a constraint that is derived from the values derived from the decision variables, and you set up constraints outside of the range. So direct constraints on decision variables are like price being non-negative. In case of an investment problem, for example, the total allocation in the portfolio must add up to 100%, and some can be easily modeled into a permitted range. And suppose if, okay, for example, you want something that cannot be set up as a range. Okay, here is an example. If cannot be coded as a range, okay, cannot be coded as a range, then it must be set up like this. For example, business class prices less than or equal to 2 times the economy class prices. So that's not a range, but that's a relationship, and we have to insert that. So those are the kind of indirect effects of decision variables. Okay, so demand that is based on price be non-negative, or or in case of portfolio investment problem, and suppose you have no portfolio share should exceed 25%, that kind of stuff. Now we can also have constraints on target variable that we are optimizing. So like for example, if you don't want if you have a target value, okay, for revenue, so you want revenue of at least $15,000 at a particular percentile. So you want the mean, okay, standard deviation, right? Like mean and standard deviation, you can have the fifth percentile. Okay, what is the downside risk? How low can it go? And you don't want it to go any lower than at the 5% level, no lower than say $14,000 or something like that. So those are the kinds of constraints that we can add. Let's look at one by one. Okay, so now we have this model where the prices, okay, we already have set up from I think it is D, where we have the number of reserved and the prices set up at a closer range. Okay, so now we want to add a constraint that says that the Y class price cannot be more than 2 times that of Q class price. Okay, so we can set up a cell here. There are several ways of getting it done. So let's set up a limit for Y fair, right? So Y fair limit is 2 times the Q class price. Okay, so you go back into optimize model setting. Okay, so now you click add, and the range constraint. Okay, so here it is Y class price less than or equal to Y fair limit. Okay. Click OK. Click OK. And start. Okay, we have finished. So let's click OK. Okay, so now we have hard constraints met. Okay, and here are the answers found. Trial number 5 gives you the best answer. Okay, and here are the trials that it went through and graphical representation.